So the next thing after that, there was a Seth and Logan segment backstage where Seth was kind of telling Logan what's going on. So what I like is what they're doing, and I mentioned it a little earlier. Talk about SmackDown is for years and years and years. They didn't go too in depth with future contenders, like with the world title. It would be like that person, and they would just focus on that person, and nobody else was really in that picture. But now you have Chase and Jay, and they kind of read off his schedule. I mean, he's fighting Logan Saturday night, then he's going to have to fight Gunther, and then after that is probably Seth Rollins, and they're probably going to knock that out in short order. So it looks like they're working Jay quite a bit, even not defending the title. He's working a lot. So I wonder if this is by design to weaken him to where he has that shorter run. But what I just like is that they're building a story around the belt itself, and it's involving
Yeah.
other people that this storyline's going on, but now the belt itself is becoming a storyline because multiple people want to get involved and get their hands on it, which is logical. So it works.
It's that's the intent of that belt. It is the workhorse world championship, right? You're supposed to be defending it a lot. You're supposed to be
Right.
out there doing all the shows. When Seth first got that belt, he was the right guy for it because he's always there. He's
Yep.
7-Eleven, man, 24/7. Seth is always there. And since Jay has been in the picture, Jay's been also 7-Eleven, 24/7. He's always been there. Like, that's the importance of that belt. Like, if you're going to get that belt, this is why I don't think Logan Paul gets it. When he had, like, the U.S. title, he could get away with disappearing for a couple of weeks with it. Everybody's like, oh, be nice if Logan was around. Man, if you got that specific title, you have that's the only world championship out of the two that you cannot hide. You cannot. You have to be out grinding.
Yep.
Because like the other one, the cinema title, you can get away with being gone for a week or two, especially if you got a mouthpiece. But you have to be out there grinding with that world heavyweight championship. And like whoever gets it needs to be a grinder. That's why Seth is in the picture. That's why Gunther is in the picture. That's
Yep.
why hopefully Logan Paul is in the picture because you know, he's taking his WWE stuff seriously, and I give him his props for that. So, like, that's why I said you have to grind it out. So that's why that's important. I just, they really need to hit a core. They need to do something with, and I know it's coming, so I'm trying to be patient, but, like, I really do feel like we need a little something something from the Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins faction. We need something maybe not epic. We need something good to come out of them, just to kind of nudge that story along. But dot dot dot. The Bloodline storyline did not go into instant fifth gear and just blast off and
No.
take off. It was slow rolled, big time, to the point where we were just like, "Are we? Is this a thing?" Like, there was early on in the Bloodline storyline too.
I know, and now we're
So
saying today in 2025, like it's still a thing, right? Like it still hangs around. It
yeah,
could be brought back at any time. That's the thing. They did it so well; they could be brought back. So
well, they screwed enough people that
yeah.
there's always a story there, and
Yep.
I really think that like if if you're gonna put Roman Reigns back into title contention, there has to be a whole effing gauntlet of people that he screwed over. Like, he should be running a gauntlet of all the people, the Drew McIntyres, the Sami Zayns, like all those guys that we were like, oh crap, they might finally do it, and you could justify the story yet. Drew at Clash at the Castle, you could have totally justified him going over. Sammy at Montreal,
Montreal. Yeah.
totally could have justified him going over. He was so effing over with that crowd, and that's all the crowd wanted. But no, what did we get? Lather, rinse, repeat, interference, blah, blah, blah. Fine, fine. But Roman Reigns has to go through that gauntlet again. He has to, like, he should not be in the title picture at all. He cannot be Charlotte Flair. He cannot be Becky Lynch. He cannot be any of those people that just show up and, like, hi, I'm here. No, Roman Reigns has to run the gauntlet of all the, especially if he's going to do a face run. He has to run the gauntlet of everybody he screwed, and he has to
But do
do
you
it by
really think
himself.
do you really think he's gonna go for another title run? Because he's not a full timer. I mean, do you think it's possible he's done with the world title run? Or I mean, I know he's hinted about how that's his title.
I don't. I think he gets back into the mix at some point. It just depends on when he decides to
Yeah,
show up for work, and it's a show up for work thing. Like
yeah,
he doesn't have any mouthpieces anymore to do his dirty work for him. Like that was my whole thing when people were just like, "Oh my God, he's the greatest ever." I'm like, the dude never shows up. Like I respect Roman Reigns, but it is important to note that Roman Reigns wasn't the only one carrying the water.
right,
Paul Heyman was carrying the water. The Usos were carrying the water. Sami Zayn, when he got involved, was carrying the water for
correct.
Roman Reigns. Like, Roman could be away, and he could afford to be away. If Roman Reigns is ever to get back into the title picture, he has to do it by himself, and he's going to have to run the gauntlet.
Yep, and that makes total sense. Total sense. But
So,
that may be a
now
while
that
coming.
we're